Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Switching over now. Sometimes it doesn't want to go. There we go. I think we're live. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Paleontologizing. So glad you could join us. This is a very, very special stream. We weren't even sure we were going to do this, but we saw some cool stuff, and we wanted to share it with you. So, yeah. Anyway, just to introduce ourselves real quick, my name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. I'm here on Twitch trying to do some good old-fashioned science outreach. And today I am joined by Laurdee.
Hi, I'm Laurdee. I'm from Cooking with Laurdee. Usually I'm doing cooking content out of my kitchen, but today I'm out in the big, wide world at the Grand Canyon with my good friend Danny.
Yeah, we are on this amazing road trip right now, going all across the American West, visiting different museums and fossil sites and that kind of thing. Laurdee really wanted to visit the Grand Canyon, though.
I did. This was my addition to the trip. We've been to all these dinosaur museums, and I was like, I want to go to the Grand Canyon.
So here we are. Yeah. It is going to be a lot of fun, and there's a lot of awesome geology to explore. So I'm really glad you're here with us. There's actually a little geology museum right up the trail here. So we'll see if maybe we can make it in there before it gets too crowded. Luckily, we got to the park really early this morning. What time did we get here? Like 7?
7.
Not bad. Yeah. Ended up leaving the hotel around 5:30. It's been good. It's been a really good day so far. I'm so excited to be able to share this with you. So yeah, let me open up chat on my phone. There we go.
Is the Grand Canyon newer than the extinction event?
Newer than the end Cretaceous extinction event? Much newer. The Grand Canyon is actually pretty young. It's only about 6 million years old. So yeah, that's from like the latter part of the age of mammals. So yeah, I guess it's the Grand Canyon started forming, I don't know, depending on when you consider start, but about 60 million years after the non-avian dinosaurs went extinct. About 60 million years after the asteroid. And here we are here.
Our first view of the canyon.
Check this out. Look at that. Just incredible. Wow. I hope this captures, at least in some small way, the absolute grandeur here. Just incredible. Take a look.
You're getting much excitement.
Yeah. I mean, I wish you could be here right now to see this in person, but this at least gives you some sense for what we're looking at here. Just phenomenal. We are at the south rim of the Grand Canyon, kind of near like Williams, Arizona. And yeah. I love seeing this kind of topography kind of earlier in the morning because you get these really long shadows. We got here not too long after sunrise, I guess, and there were some incredible shadows. It was just gorgeous. It was a little too early to stream though, so we held off until now. We were thinking of holding off until after lunch, but this is I don't know, just so incredible that we couldn't really wait. My goodness. So we're going to be talking about some of the different rock layers and the times in which they were formed and why they look different from one another, why they're different colors and all of that. So I hope you're ready for some geology.
Have there been fossils found in the Grand Canyon?
There have been fossils found in the Grand Canyon. There's stromatolites, there's trackways from the Coconino sandstone, trackways of vertebrate animals like ancient amphibians and reptilomorphs and things like that from the Permian, I think. I believe there's a bunch of other like invertebrate fossils. I want to say there are trilobites from certain layers. Yeah. So there, I believe, is the Geology Museum. We might want to go into there sooner rather than later, just before it gets crowded. Or do you think we should go for a hike first and then... No, actually, I think we'll go in there first. It'll give us some more things to talk about when we're actually on our hike, walking along the rim here. This is going to be a pretty easy hike, all paved trails and everything. But here is the Geology Museum. And I will have to put my mask on when we're inside. Apologies for that, but gotta be courteous. We are both fully vaccinated, obviously, but still, gotta follow all the rules, make sure everybody feels comfortable.
We have some questions. Can we hang out for a minute before?
Yeah, we can certainly hang out for a minute.
You want to sit on this?
How about right over here?
Or yeah.
Yeah.
If there was a time when the river would have filled the canyon.
Never the whole river. No, like the whole canyon, no. Well, actually, no, right at the beginning there wouldn't have been a canyon, so I guess the river would have filled the whole thing. Yeah, let me tell you what I know about the Grand Canyon so far. Grand Canyon was formed by the Colorado River, and you can still see it in parts back here. Maybe we can even point it out to you. I'm not sure if this camera is suitable for that, but it's like a mile down, and you just see little glimpses of it. It's just a little like matte brown, little squiggle. It sometimes peeks out in different places. But it was formed just gradually by flowing of the Colorado River, kind of cutting down through all these rock layers and sometimes switching. There were little tributaries that would go through in different spots, and it's really that simple. A river incising down through all of this rock here. Pretty cool. Yeah. Any other questions here? Let's see.
Yes. Can you look at the layers of Earth and physically see different time periods?
Great question, Dark Knight. We can, and we will be learning about how to interpret that here in the Geology Museum in just a couple minutes. Yeah. I've only ever been to the Grand Canyon once in my life. We were here for maybe 20 minutes. Yeah, just enough to be supremely disappointed. I got to stand on the canyon rim for maybe 10 minutes, and then we had to go. It's a long story, but yeah, really excited to be able to spend a lot more time here. Oh, but the reason I bring that up is that I've not really spent any length of time here before. I don't really know this area or the geology well at all.
Hello, I'm Sam Neill.
So this is going to be really instructive for me to be able to go into the museum and
if they're removed,
learn about the strata here. What I do understand is that most of this stuff is Precambrian and then Paleozoic. I don't think we have many Mesozoic rocks in here. So this would be from, around the time, I think the rocks at the very bottom are about 2 billion years old. And then we move up through time, and then we've got some Paleozoic stuff, like early invertebrates, and then some early vertebrate animals, and it stops, I think, before we get to the Triassic, before we get to the age of dinosaurs. I want to say the ones at the top are, this is like Permian stuff for the most part. But I don't know, I could be wrong about that. We're going to go find out in the museum. So, yeah.
About crew leader, who is your Uncle Randy, and says you're doing a great job.
Hey, Uncle Randy, how you doing? Great to see you.
Has a question.
Yeah,
About how far down from the rim were bones found?
Pretty near the top, I think, because if you go down super far, that's before animals had evolved bones. It's even before some of the first animals evolved, or some of the earlier rocks down there. There are things like stromatolites at the bottom, which are these ancient bacterial mats. They're like photosynthetic bacteria, cyanobacteria, that would form these layers. And, so that's like, maybe some of those are 1 billion years old. It's near the top that you actually have animals with bones. And I don't know if many vertebrate animals have been found. I know there are trackways of some critters, I think from the Permian, in the Coconino Sandstone. But apart from that, I don't really know much else. Yeah, maybe if there's a geologist in there, we can ask her. We'll see. Yeah.
So was the river a mile wide when it was on the surface?
No, it wasn't. No. It would have been, I don't know, probably, I would guess it would be a lot more, there was a more substantial river back in the day. The Colorado River today has been exploited to the point where it's pretty wimpy. It doesn't even reach the ocean anymore. It just peters out because, there's like 5 different states that use water from the Colorado River. And so they just completely deplete it. It's used for agriculture. It might be used for drinking water too. So yeah, it doesn't even reach the coast anymore. So the river used to be Used to be much more fearsome, but I don't think it was ever a mile wide. I don't think anything close to that. Yeah, but maybe we'll find out. Yeah, these are great questions to have in advance. Like, we can be on the lookout for this information when we're in the museum. Yeah.
And I think that's it for right now.
All right, cool. We're going to go ahead and put our masks on, and then we'll head on into the museum. And I think we can go in either entrance, right? Yeah. So, let me put this on. There we go. And it's going to be weird to be wearing a hat indoors, but I don't really have anywhere else to put it, so yeah. Does everybody hear me okay? How's my volume right now? I hope it's pretty good. Yeah. And Kate Botts wants to know, where was all the sediment deposited? Downstream. Yeah. I think the outlet for the Colorado River used to be... Is it in the Sea of Cortez? Like between Baja California and Alta California? Or no, between Baja California and Mexico, I mean? I'm not sure. That's another thing we'll find out. Yeah. Oh, and you know what? Actually, maybe before we go in, maybe we should read from our roadside geology book, just to give us kind of a baseline here of information. I think that's probably a good idea. Let's see. We'll sit down in the shade again. Maybe I'll sit right here. Lordy, would you mind holding the camera?
Yeah.
Thanks. Maybe like right here so I can see the canyon too. Alright, so before we came down here, I made sure I got a copy of this, Roadside Geology of Arizona. There are books for, I think, most U.S. states talking about geology that you can see from the road, which is pretty cool. Especially on the East Coast, most of the geology you'll see will be in road cuts and areas like that. Let's move over this way a little bit, actually. I don't want to be so close to the entrance.
Yeah. Here's that little shade.
Yeah, that's a great spot. Thanks. There's the whole thing going on. All this gear. Are you comfortable holding it like that?
No, not really.
Okay, I can hold it. All right. And, yeah, anyway, I realized after we figured out we'd be coming to the Grand Canyon, I think it's page 279, I really needed to get hold of this book. And so I placed an order for it on Amazon, and then we happened to be going through a bookshop, one of my favorite bookshops in Bozeman, Montana, Vargo's Jazz City Books, and found a copy there, so I bought it there instead and canceled the Amazon order. Always want to support independent booksellers whenever I can. But here, Grand Canyon National Park. So it says, the Grand Canyon, nature's masterpiece, is a textbook of geology laid open before our eyes. In its dark inner gorge are relics of ancient sedimentary and volcanic rocks, crushed, broken, and distorted through time, intruded by magma, yet still able to tell us of early conditions on our planet. To hint at the origins of life, of towering mountain ranges, and of long millennia of erosions that beveled and smoothed whole continents and leveled ancient shores. The canyon's colorful upper walls, cliffs and slopes and ledges above the inner gorge, present orderly pages of Paleozoic sedimentary strata that tell us tales of seas and deltas and deserts, of unfolding life in a world not too unlike our own. And the mere presence of the canyon here, a mile deep, cutting across a 9,000-foot plateau, challenges the reader of the rocks with further history. The story of rising land, of faraway glaciers, and of a pirate river whose stolen riches far surpassed its own. So this is the author speaking here, Halka Chronic. Must be a top-tier geologist. They say, I've made no effort to present a map with this section, a full-color geologic map of Eastern Grand Canyon, the ultimate in souvenirs, published by the Grand Canyon Natural History Association and the Museum of Northern Arizona, and sold at visitor centers. It includes a number of cross-sections keyed to the map. The walls of Grand Canyon furnish an unequaled example of the premise of which much of geologic knowledge is based. In sedimentary sequences, the older rocks are at the bottom, and those above them are sequentially younger. Here, the oldest rocks are near the river, hard crystalline rocks of the Vishnu group. These dark schists, intruded by the Zoroaster granite, stand on edge and are exposed along the river in almost all of eastern Grand Canyon. the part most visitors see. That's where we are right now, on the south rim, the eastern Grand Canyon. These rocks originated more than 2 billion years ago as sedimentary rocks, sandstone and shale and limestone, interlayered with lava flows. They seem to have been deeply buried under perhaps as much as 12 vertical miles of other rock, a layer 12 times as thick as the Grand Canyon is deep, crushed and folded and even partly melted by heat and pressure, and then erosion. All the 12 miles above were worn away, and the old rocks were smoothly beveled before another round of sedimentation. So yeah, these are Precambrian age rocks, the Vishnu group at the bottom. Yeah, so it says before another round of sedimentation, we have what we call an unconformity there, where rocks stopped being deposited for a while. So there's basically like a big gap in time. Below Desert View on the south rim and Cape Royal on the north rim, and in Bright Angel Canyon along the Kaibab Trail, are tilted wedges of younger Precambrian rocks, not as distorted, clearly showing the layered characteristics of sedimentary rock. Conglomerate, sandstone, shale, and limestone, interlayered again with lava flows. Some of these rocks contain fossils, circular impressions that may be cysts of floating algae, as well as tracks, trails, and large cabbage-like heads called stromatolites, showing that organisms of various kinds did live in the Precambrian seas. So, yeah, the stromatolites that I was telling you about, these layered cyanobacterial mats. Very cool. The most easily recognized of these Precambrian strata are the bright orange-red Hakatai shale and dark Cardenas lavas. These lava flows have been dated radiometrically at about 1 billion years old. The entire sequence, of course, was many millions of years in the making. Then these layered rocks were neatly broken and tilted along north-south faults, creating a basin and range topography not too unlike that of western and southern Arizona today. And finally, along with other Precambrian crystalline rocks, they were worn away, except for a series of hard quartzite ridges during a tremendously long period of erosion at the close of the Precambrian time. The resulting great unconformity can be traced along the length of the eastern Grand Canyon, wherever Precambrian rocks are exposed. The nearly horizontal surface between these Precambrian rocks and the overlying Paleozoic rocks has been described as one of the most striking exposures of an unconformity in the world. So cool. An outcrop hundreds of miles long, winding in and out of the scalloped walls of the canyon and its tributaries. Above all these old rocks are flat-lying Paleozoic sedimentary rocks. These are most of the rocks that we're going to be seeing as we're looking down there. Cambrian, Devonian, Mississippian, Pennsylvanian, and Permian. You may have noticed that a few of the geologic time periods we all know and love are missing from that. It says Ordovician and Silurian are missing. The successive layers are shown in the accompanying diagram on the geologic map and are easily recognized from either rim by their color or cliff-forming or slope-forming tendencies. And it says, this is the story they tell. I think I'll probably skip this part. We'll go ahead and go on into the museum, and I'm sure we'll hear an updated version of this story. I think this book was written back in the 1970s. It's got this lovely diagram right here that shows some of the section. This is kind of stylized, but yeah.
Gap in deposits, does that suggest drought or dot?
Yeah, so we get these a lot, unconformities like that. It just means that there wasn't sediment being laid down at the time. So maybe there was mountain uplift. Maybe this area was kind of, upland rather than lowland, and so no sediment was being laid down there. So we just don't have rock records from that time. Yeah. I guess we can find more out about that, I think, in the museum. It looks pretty quiet right now. This might be the perfect time to go in there. You hold this for a second? As I maneuver this book back into my camera bag. Hopefully we don't lose the signal. The cord's being jostled around. There we go. How is the signal so far, by the way?
It's looking good.
Let's see.
Yeah, it's looking really good.
Yeah, excellent. 4,900 kbps. Not too shabby. I'm pretty happy about that. So yeah, let's go on into the Geology Museum. Put a little mask up here. There we go, like that. Very cool. I like that room with the view. This is the Yavapai Point Museum of Geology here. And there we go. What a wonderful quote right there. Given enough time, nothing is more changeable than rock. Very cool. This is the massive rock formations in the Grand Canyon may seem unchanging, but every day small changes slowly alter the landscape. Solid rock crumbles into sand, clay, and soil. Agents of erosion slowly transform everything you see. It's so cool. The Grand Canyon is basically like this wonderful illustration of uniformitarian change. Just slow geologic processes at work all the time. Just incremental change, bit by little bit, over millions of years. You know, a river like the Colorado can carve out an incredible canyon like this. So there is actually the Colorado River. Can you see it down there? This looks like chocolate milk.
It does look like chocolate milk.
Down at the bottom.
Yeah, I can see it.
And you even see like a little line going across it there with a shadow to the side. That is a little suspension bridge. We were just reading about that on one of the signs earlier for the stream. And all the pieces of that suspension bridge had to be carried on the backs of human beings or mules because there were no roads going down there at the time. And there might still be no roads down there, I'm not sure. I wouldn't be surprised. And here we go. This is a lovely relief map of the canyon. Here's where we are at the moment, Yavapai Point. And so that bridge must be right down there. It's just really neat to be able to see this. So this is the main channel of the Colorado going through. Very cool. Very, very cool. And so you can imagine when this plateau was just flat, or maybe had some like kind of gentle valleys going through it, Colorado started carving its way down. And it's funny, erosion is one of those things where you like carve out a channel and then it's kind of a feedback loop where if a channel is already carved out, that makes it a point of less resistance for water flowing down. And so you get these wonderful like slot canyons, side canyons. And yeah, so this gives you a sense of scale here too. We're here right now in the east part of Grand Canyon, and this is the west part over here. I think this is where I've been in the past, was somewhere along here or along here. But yeah, 277 miles long. And 10 miles wide, I guess at the widest point, to the north rim. Incredible, incredible. And so, the power of a river and its tributaries make a Grand Canyon. The river did it, but not alone. As the river cuts deeper, the gradients of tributary streams become steeper as they rush to the river's edge. So this is a really cool illustration of like how the Grand Canyon was formed, right here. With each pulse of spring runoff or thunderstorm flood, the river carved its channel deeper, grinding car-sized boulders against the bedrock. Runoff from surrounding plateaus whittled at the canyon walls. The tributaries sliced quickly to keep up with the river's down-cutting erosion. This reminds me of like sequence stratigraphy here. As the tributaries cut into the canyon walls, the rims grew further apart. Very cool. The river's early channel might have looked similar to the area near Lee's Ferry at the head of Grand Canyon there. Very neat.
87 is the high, 56 is more, so we already
The Colorado River, like liquid sandpaper, uses the sediments it carries to carve its canyons. Driven by weather and climate, the Colorado deepens its course. The river gathers rain and snowmelt from the Rocky Mountains. Swollen by springtime runoff and summer storms, the Colorado's muddy waters churn. Silt, sand, and cobbles grind against each other and against bedrock channels. Its water carries the abrasive load downstream, ultimately surrendering it to the Gulf of California. That's what I was saying, yeah. The Gulf of California between, also known as the Sea of Cortez, right? Powered by time, over 5 million years worth, the river does what gravity demands. Very cool. Now, can anybody actually see the river in this view right now? Let me know if you can. I'll hold the camera here. There is one patch over there. There's another patch over there. Like we were saying, it looks like little patches of chocolate milk down at the bottom. Muddy, muddy Colorado River.
Is the Colorado River particularly muddy compared to other rivers?
I think here it is just because there's so much sediment suspended in it. In other spots it'll be much clearer, I'm sure. But here in the Grand Canyon, there's just so much rock material in there. Just like we were reading about on that sign. Oh, and this is really neat. We'll look at this real quick. Hiding in the basement. For 5 million years, the Colorado River sliced through layer after layer, cutting into the very foundation of the continent, the basement rocks, in capital letters right there. Buried beneath almost 4,000 feet of younger rocks, the basement rocks are Grand Canyon's oldest and toughest rocks. They confine the river in a steep, narrow inner gorge. So yeah, if those rocks were less resilient, the canyon would be much, much wider at the bottom. The fact that they are so resistant to abrasion is why it narrows right down there at the bottom. And that's why this is a narrow canyon and not like a wide floodplain. So what's missing? Rock layers record time. Sometimes rocks erode away and we lose that record. Some 5,000 feet of rock has already been eroded from the top of Grand Canyon. I didn't know that. Deleting the stories of the most recent 270 million years, including the time of the dinosaurs. I was telling you there's no dinosaur age rocks in Grand Canyon. There we go. I thought it was just because it wasn't deposited at the time, but apparently it's already been eroded. Where Paleozoic rocks rest directly on the basement rocks, the contact represents a gap of 1,150 million years, 1.15 billion years. Geologists call this gap the Great Unconformity. Wedges of the supergroup rocks, where present, record some of this missing time. So Paleozoic rocks and fossils preserve glimpses of the ancient environments in which they formed. Kaibab limestones formed from soft mud on the bottom of a shallow tropical sea, where sharks and squid-like nautiloids swam. Very cool. This was probably Devonian, I would think. There's sharks there. The Coconino sandstone, I was talking about this earlier, was deposited by wind. It means it's an aeolian environment. It's one that's wind deposited. The Coconino sandstone was deposited by wind in large sand dunes where ancient reptiles, spiders, and scorpions crawled. Very cool. Hermit shales display fossils of ferns and primitive conifers, which grew in the sand, silt, and mud deposits of a coastal wetland and river delta environment. So this would be during the Permian. This must be even before the Permian. Yeah, I guess in the Mississippian or Pennsylvania. I've got a wasp over here stuck in the building.
The ponderous
Poor thing.
Cracodon, 32 feet long and 14 feet high.
If I knew she didn't have a stinger, I'd
1,500
pick her up and put her outside.
and not a single cavity.
But I'm not sure if that kind of wasp has a stinger. I'm not looking to get stung today. Just look at that landscape. Just incredible. Wow. You could spend a whole lifetime just exploring all of these different spots down there. Amazing. How you doing, Laurdee?
Good.
All right.
Amazing.
Isn't this cool? And here we have a geologic section here that I'm really excited to show you. So, this is the production of the canyon right here. There would be the Colorado River down there. These would be the basement rocks at the bottom. This is probably like the Vishnu group, like the geology book was telling us. These are Precambrian age rocks. There were once sedimentary rocks, but have since been metamorphosed and intruded by magma, kind of changed and hardened and kind of baked solid. Basement rocks there. And then Bass limestone. And these are tilted right here. So there was some uplift after these were deposited. And then the rest of these deposited afterward where there wasn't really any uplift. So those are pretty much flat. Yeah. Very cool. There's the Hermit Formation that they were talking about up there. This is Permian in age. This stuff might be more recent then. Well, it has to be more recent, but I wonder how recent. So we might not actually have Coconino sandstone in this part of the canyon. I'm not sure. Unless it's got a different formation name than Coconino. I guess I wouldn't know. A little gift shop over here. Very cool. Very, very cool. Yeah, isn't that cool? A wall of rocks like that. Let's check this out over here. Yeah, so this actually shows us different eras here, or at least we've got the Paleozoic there. There's the Coconino sandstone up there, 275 million years old. So that would be, I guess, when we go into the Paleozoic, the dates, I'm a little squishy on those. That's either like Pennsylvanian or earliest Permian, I think. Let's see. Yeah. Pretty cool. Very, very neat. There's the Vishnu schist, like we heard about in the book. Wow. And then you've got Elves Chasm Gneiss, 1,840 million years old. 1.840 billion years old. Incredible. The oldest multicellular fossils from about 1.3 billion years ago. I think that's been pushed back since then. But maybe these are the oldest multicellular fossils from the canyon. This has got the entirety of Earth history right here. Along this. Earth formed 4.5 billion years ago. The oldest rocks that we have today still around, about 4.1 bill. Oldest microfossils from 3.6. There we go. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. First evidence of complex cells. I guess these would be like eukaryotic cells with a nucleus and everything. From about 2.8 billion. Then those eukaryotic cells started photosynthesizing and like producing oxygen. That was probably Earth's first mass extinction event when the atmosphere was flooded with oxygen as a waste product of these photosynthetic cells. Everything else died out pretty much because oxygen was a poisonous gas to those things. Yeah. But that kind of set the stage for what we have today. Oldest complex cell fossils, 1.9 billion years ago. Oldest multicellular fossils, 1.3 billion. The supergroup rocks from the Grand Canyon, those ones at the bottom, the really hard ones that create that narrow canyon bottom. Here, Paleozoic rocks are from here. So each one of these kind of white spots is an unconformity. That's rocks that we don't have represented in the Grand Canyon sequence. So there's a big gap right here, big gap right here, big gap right there during the age of dinosaurs. That's because all of this was eroded away. And we had some uplift there. What brought this area so high up altitude-wise? So that the Colorado River could incise its way down on its way to the sea. So canyon carving is from just at the top of there. So the canyon, the carving of the canyon is just the tiniest little sliver in all of Earth history. But these rocks that were deposited down beforehand give us, you know, clues as to what was going on Earth at the time. It's really cool. The Colorado River kind of helps us travel through time like that, to see what everything looked like way back when. Very cool. Yeah. Super awesome. Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Uh-huh.
Where do you even look for cellular fossils? Do you take a microscope to rocks?
I think for some of these, like with, it says, first evidence of complex cells, and then way up here, a billion years later, we have the first fossils of complex cells. I think it's just the composition of the rocks. Like the fact that you find evidence of oxygen in some of these rocks way down deep means that there were organisms producing that oxygen. It's really difficult to find rocks of this age that are not metamorphosed, that are just like clean and might preserve fossils in them. And I think the first chance that anybody's had to find fossils in these rocks has been way up here. We know these organisms existed back then, but I guess all these rocks are so messed up that it's only up until this point. It's only right here, way later, that we actually have the first fossils of them. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Yeah. There's a lot of like Precambrian stuff over here that I might gloss over a little bit because I know next to nothing about it. But we'll actually get into some paleontology here and look at some of these ancient organisms that lived during the Paleozoic.
JP Doozy asks, what methods are used to date the layers of rock?
Oh, that's a great question. Some of it is relative dating, so it's like the rocks below tend to be older than the rocks above. It's called the law of superposition in geology. But sometimes we also get lucky and we have materials in the rocks that we can directly date through chemical means. Radiometric dating. I don't know if anybody here is particularly familiar with radiometric dating, so I'll just give you like a really quick rundown of it. Basically, the way that it works is that there are sometimes radioactive isotopes that are laid down in the rocks. So these are things that, you know, like they decay over time. So very, very slowly, certain rocks will, like certain elements will decay into other ones. They'll lose neutrons or they'll even lose protons. And we know the rate at which these things decay. And so if you look at rocks, you know, laid down, say, from the bottom of the Grand Canyon, and you find certain percentages of these different, like radiometric isotopes in them, you can use that like a clock to figure out how old they are. It's a process that used to be kind of like squishy and difficult, but it's gotten a lot more precise in recent years. And yeah, we've got pretty decent dates on a lot of stuff, especially from around here. The Grand Canyon, I think, was kind of instrumental in that, because you don't have super old rocks like this exposed to the surface in other parts of this region. So again, the Grand Canyon's kind of like a time machine we can use to see what things were like back then. Yeah. I want to take a look at this real quick. I'll read this for you. The sun beat down as North America drifted across the equator 525 million years ago during the Cambrian period. At that time, the Grand Canyon region was a coastal plain broken by isolated ridges of supergroup rocks. The Western Sea advanced across this plain, depositing the beginnings of the Paleozoic rock set. The variety of Paleozoic rocks represent constantly changing marine and terrestrial environments created by rising and falling sea levels. This pattern of deposition ended as a new supercontinent took shape 270 million years ago. So yeah, that's when Pangaea just started to form. You guys have probably heard of Pangaea before. This is the supercontinent from around the time of the beginning of the age of dinosaurs. You know, Pangaea really starts breaking apart. Wild dinosaurs are kind of taken off. So at this time, 270 million years ago, Pangaea was kind of congealing into Pangaea, into one big supercontinent. Super cool. I wonder if these fossils have actually been found in this area, like in the canyon itself. We've got the Tapete sandstone. I guess like shallow marine sandstone here. Bright angel shell, quiet waters offshore allowed fine mud and particles to settle from the seawater and compact into bright angel shale. Got some lovely trilobites here. I bet you, I want to say there are trilobites from Grand Canyon. And we'll have limestone.
So is the American continent still moving? Will they eventually crash into Japan/China?
I guess so, yeah. Well, no, let me think. I know the Atlantic is expanding. I think the Pacific is contracting, yeah. So maybe 400 million years from now, North America might smack into Asia again. Yeah, but the continents are still moving. They move all the time. That's what causes things like earthquakes. Tectonic plates slowly moving. Sometimes they get stuck against one another, and then they're still being pushed, and so they kind of jolt. That's what generates earthquakes. This is like, super basic seismology here. Yeah, got this lovely nautiloid right here. So this is related to modern, squids and paddlefishes and things like that. It's got this shell. Modern ones don't have shells like that, obviously. There are all kinds of different groups of nautiloids and ammonites and orthocones from the Paleozoic and Mesozoic. And I think the last of these guys, probably the last of that lineage, die out along with the dinosaurs 66 million years ago, along with about 60% of all other life on Earth. So we no longer have these squiddy guys and shells. So tropical seas. For a time, the sea retreated, exposing the Grand Canyon region to erosion. When the sea returned, warm and tranquil tropical waters spread across the region. Animals, including nautiloids, like this guy, brachiopods, crinoids, corals, and armored fish, lived and fed in the warm waters. Their shells and skeletons produced the limey mud that crystallized into layers of limestone. Very cool. So anytime you're looking at limestone, if you're, say, like looking for fossils in the limestone, remember, the limestone itself is made of fossils. Those are like the tiny, crushed up, just like turned to dust parts of ancient creature shells and what have you. Really cool. So limestone itself is made of microfossils. Very cool. There's an illustration of one of these nautiloids right there. Oh, and it's got a trilobite in its tentacles. I didn't even notice that at first. Very neat. These guys were predatory, obviously, like all cephalopods. Rivers move mountains. Eastern North America crumpled up against the growing supercontinent of Pangaea, forming high mountains. So these are, today, what we have, the Appalachian Mountains in the eastern United States. Those are the super old remnants of these giant mountains that formed when North America slammed into the side of Pangaea. So the Appalachians used to be much, much higher than they are today. It's a super old mountain range, and it's just basically been eroded to the point where they're like tall hills. At least from the perspective of somebody who spent a lot of time in Montana and who lives in California. Yeah, Appalachians used to be a lot taller. Streams and rivers charged with sediments eroded from these new mountains. Oh, thanks. Spread across the coastal plains of the Grand Canyon region. And then we've got the Hermit Foundation. We've got, of course, to denote that this is the Permian period, you've got a Dimetrodon right there, along with a gigantic insect. A drying environment with sand dunes and lush streamside oases deposited the Hermit Formation. Fine-grained sand and mud preserved abundant fern fossils and track marks in the stream sides of this broad coastal plain. You can tell this is written by geologists. This is great. And then the Coconino Sandstone. Fed by beach sand to the north, winds pushed sand grades toward the central Arizona region. Today, sloping crossbeds in Coconino Sandstone display the internal structure of shifting dunes. Anytime you see this distinctive pattern in rocks like that, that is like a cross-section of sand dunes. Really cool. And then, of course, seaways advanced again, and it was all underwater once more. Again, with more nautiloids and sharks. But this is really cool. So, I'll show you some of the fossils from this area. We've got trilobites. So trilobites are related to things like horseshoe crabs, other crustaceans, crabs and lobsters, and spiders. I think they're kind of equally distant from all of those groups. Trilobites now are completely extinct. They went extinct just before the dinosaurs showed up. So at the end of the Permian, I think you've got the last of the trilobites. And so it says, lift the flap to see an actual trilobite fossil from Grand Canyon. There we go. So we do have trilobites from here. So this is part and counterpart, or slab and counter slab. This is the same fossil. Very cool. That's beautiful. That's gorgeous. Super cool. And then we've got brachiopods here. Yeah, brachiopods are now extinct. I think they also died out at the end of the Permian. But these guys used to be super common. They're kind of like clams. But they went completely extinct at the end of the Permian, if I remember correctly. And we've got little bits of crinoid here too. Sea lilies. These are really common during the Paleozoic. They get hit hard during the end Permian extinction, but we still have crinoids around today. There's a few examples that you can see around the world. These are kind of animal, it's not a plant. And they have this like flowery thing at the top with a little mouth in the middle, and they would filter feed through the water like that and anchored to the bottom, so they look kind of like plants. That's why they get called sea lilies. Oh wow, and this is Sigillaria bark. This is a replica of that. There are these massive scaly-sided trees that lived during the Paleozoic. Yeah, and I guess they're kind of club mosses. So this is that texture right there. Imagine walking through like a huge forest with like 70-foot tall trees. The sides of them look like this. And then, this is my favorite part of this. We've got a reproduction of reptile tracks from the Coconino sandstone. This is what we're seeing right here. I guess this is a representation of this animal walking through. But these were these shifting sand dunes, which eventually compacted to the point where they became solid sandstone. And these are all wind-deposited sediments, which is super cool. And we have trackways in them from here in Grand Canyon. Very, very cool. Wow. That's awesome. I think I'm about ready to go outside. What do you think, Laurdee?
Let's do it.
All right. And it's exactly, right? Yeah, easy to imagine these little critters walking through. All right. It got a lot more crowded in here while we were in here.
I know it did.
Yeah. So I think now it's time to exit stage left. Thank you, Laurdee.
Yeah.
You got my hat?
Yeah.
All right, thanks. Appreciate that.
Give me just a minute, I gotta get my sunglasses on my hat.
You bet. Oh, look at that. So along here, we'll be going down there in just a few minutes. Along this paved walking path, they have kind of a walk through time, which we're going to explore. And I wanted to share that with you. I can take this off now. So yeah. Should be pretty neat. And Beneficent says, how warm is it out there today? I think it's going to be like high 80s up here on the rim of the canyon. And down toward the bottom of the canyon, it'll probably be somewhere between 110 and 120. It gets hotter the further down you get. Yeah. There we go. How's the view? And we can just barely see Mount Trumbull over there. Yeah. You probably can't see it in the camera. Apologies. But
The world's first
for as
armored
smoky
tank,
and
you might
hazy
say.
as things have been on this
That
trip,
trunk is completely
we were in
covered with
Bozeman,
thin, bony
other
plates.
spots. It's not that bad here today. I feel like we got pretty lucky.
Let's do a little intro. We've got a lot more viewers now.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. That's a great idea. Let's stand right over here.
Yeah.
But for anybody who may have just walked in recently, let's introduce ourselves real quick. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist here on Twitch, trying to do some science outreach, answering people's questions, sharing my passion for fossils with everybody. And And joining me today is...
Hi, I'm Laurdee. I'm from Cooking with Laurdee. Usually I'm doing cooking content out of my house, but today I'm out in the wild with my good friend Danny.
Yeah.
I did want to say, that we are encouraging donations to the National Park Service today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just before we forget, I wanted to make sure I plug that in there.
We are here in a national park. This is, if you're not from the States, I don't know, just let me impress upon you how important the national park system is here in the United States, and it's really like one of the greatest things this country's ever done. I'm a big fan of the National Park Service, and we try and support it in any way we can.
Yeah, for sure.
We got our park pass and everything, and we're proud to carry it. So yeah. By the way, if you are interested in visiting some national parks, if you're a U.S. resident, for like $80, you can get a year-long pass to go to any national park. Works in all of them. And
it's a great deal.
Yeah,
because otherwise it's like $15 to $20 to get in.
Sometimes it's more. I think here it's more, isn't it? Yeah.
I don't know, because I had my pass.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. For Yellowstone, it's $40. So yeah. Anyway, I would absolutely encourage you. It's called the America the Beautiful Pass. Check it out. It's well worth it. And you'll probably find yourself visiting more national parks than you would have otherwise if you haven't. Yeah. Man, I could spend easily a month or two here just exploring out these... I don't know, there's so much to see. It's not just geology, and it's not just, sightseeing. There's, botany, ornithology, mammalogy, herpetology. I'd spend ages here especially if I had some friends who were really into the local plants or the birds. Yeah. The next time some of my herpetologist friends come out in this area, maybe I could join them. That would be super cool.
Thank you, Nana Tyrannas. We have a couple water bottles in our backpack.
Yeah, absolutely. We are all set. And then I've got a full Camelback full of ice water back in the car, too.
Yeah.
And a bunch of emergency water bottles, and we're all set, well hydrated. Good to see you, Nana Tyrannas. I hope you're having a good day. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. We'll stop in the shade up here.
Yeah, it's a shade.
All right, not too far from here, we'll have the geology walk starting. Oh, there's a raven up there.
Dubis wants to know if we can go safely by the edge. I wanted to show kind of how close to the edge we are.
Yeah, we are pretty close to the edge right here.
10 feet away from the edge.
Mm-hmm. A little bit further, but yeah, and we will be closer as we continue on.
Someone else was asking if there are hikes down to the bottom of the canyon.
There are, but they can be perilous.
A lot.
Yeah. There are all of these warnings all over the place that, if you're not an experienced hiker and if you don't have gallons of water with you, do not do it. People die in here. Happens every year. People die of dehydration or heat stroke. Because it's, a mile down to the canyon floor?
I don't know.
If you were to jump, it's 5,000 feet, something like that, from the very top.
And then you got to walk back up again.
Exactly. It's the walk up that gets you. Yeah. But 5,000 feet down, that's walking along switchbacks and everything. It's probably, I don't know, it's probably 9 or 10 miles at least, I would imagine. Just one way. So yeah. Let's stop right over here and get some water. Yeah, all right. Laurdee's got the water in her backpack. And yeah, flanks the chinks, absolutely. It gets extraordinarily hot down there. And altitude is another thing, too. You were noticing that earlier, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm used to that thick sea air.
Exactly, yeah. All the oxygen down at sea level. Not as much up here. We've got to be at least 6,000 feet, I would think. Somebody can look up what the elevation is for the South Rim of the Grand Canyon. But it's a lot, I'm sure.
Yeah. Apologies if I miss any comments, you guys. I'm actually, trying not to trip on my feet. and fall over the canyon.
Don't even say that.
and I'm looking around. So if I miss any comments or questions, please feel free to repost them if you want to make sure that I get them. But I am trying to pay attention.
Yeah, thanks, Lord. You're doing a great job.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. Whoever gets a nosebleed first wins. Yeah, circa. 7,000 feet, 2,134 meters. Thank you. Go Fish, I really appreciate you looking that up. 7,000 feet. This is higher than where I lived in Montana, in Bozeman. Bozeman's like 4,800 feet. That's funny. And I thought the air smelled kind of like it does up at like Lake Tahoe. It's that mixture of like pine and just like lack of oxygen, maybe. Lack of oxygen to the brain and everything else. Yeah, let's continue on. We'll go find those interpretive signs. North Rim is 8,000 plus feet. Wow, DK79. Wow. Here we go. There's the first of our signs up there. We have some dragonflies flitting about. Ah, so cool.
We all knew. If it hadn't been for that great dinosaur who saved us
It's
from
interesting
the
that we'd get dragonflies up here. I think of them as being more like lowland, like near water kinds of insects, because in their nymph stage, they have to be in water. But yeah, maybe they start down at the bottom of the canyon and come up here when they're mature or something. Oh, and everybody in chat, no drones in chat, please. This is a no drone zone.
Procyanid with 13 months.
Thank you, Procyanid. Really appreciate that. Fantastic. 13 months. That's a year and a month. Or I think the gestation period for a baby camel. So yeah, you could have gestated a camel in that time, but instead you were here supporting this channel, and I really appreciate that. Yeah.
Did you see any anticlines or synclines?
I don't think so yet. I don't know. It's difficult to notice down there. And I've never been particularly good at picking those out either. I'm like a subpar geologist at best. Much more on the biological side of paleontology. But if we look closely, I'm sure I could pick some out. In fact, yeah, here we go right here. But anyway, it says, welcome to the Trail of Time, a geology timeline. Walk 1,000,000 years, then you'll be ready to walk 2 billion years of the Grand Canyon's history. See and touch samples of Grand Canyon rocks and discover their ages. So, we were right up there in the Geology Museum. We are right here right now, and we're going to work our way down to the visitor center there at Grand Canyon Village and Bright Angel Lodge. Yeah. Yeah, are you ready, chat? Give me a 1 if you're ready. And we will get this started. Let's see. Oh yeah, lots and lots of crashed drones there. It's been an issue in national parks. I think drones are just banned in all national parks now.
Yeah.
Yeah, right here, 1,000,000 Year Trail today. Walk 1,000,000 years. Okay. This is kind of cool. 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. They don't actually have 1,000,000 of these. How's this going to work? Be incredibly expensive to make 1,000,000 bronze medallions, each of them stamped individually.
Why are drones banned?
They just get in the way. They're irritating. People are obnoxious with them. So
I mean, they crash in places that you can't go fetch them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like on by Old Faithful, they were banned because you can't go off and go walking towards the geysers. And
exactly.
You couldn't get them out of the canyon.
I seem to remember in Yellowstone at one point, maybe in like 2011 or 2012, like seeing the remains of a crashed drone in one of the geyser pools, or one of the paint pots or something. Like, this is not a good thing to have around. Yeah, walk 1,000,000 years on this timeline trail. To humans, 1,000,000 years seems unimaginably long, more than 10,000 lifetimes. This trail helps you shift from human time to geologic time. Years, your birthday. Decades, your generation. Centuries, U.S. history. Millennia, ancient peoples. Changing climate, earthquakes and volcanoes. 6 million year old Grand Canyon for millions, and then the oldest rocks in the Grand Canyon, billions of years old. So pretty cool. This again also applies to what I study too, the dinosaurs. We have to think in terms of geologic time. Yeah, it's just kind of the soup that I swim in, you know, on a daily basis. You gotta train yourself to think in terms of those numbers before you're really ready to like comprehend things, to really feel it, you know. So yeah, they're still just going up by one.
I know.
How is this gonna work?
I think when it gets to 100, it'll start skipping.
You think?
Yeah.
Oh, and it says find the Colorado River down here with this thing. Oh, I can see it right down there. Can you see it, Chet?
Yeah, I can.
Give me a 2 if you can see it. That little patch of like chocolate milk down there.
I gotta know what you're looking for, but I think I can see it.
It's a different color from everything else. It's still brown, but it's a different brown. I wonder if... Yeah. I can show you right here. Can you see that?
I love that.
That's it down there. I hope that works. Yeah. I'd love to know what... Are these junipers? I wonder what these are. They've got these... I bet you these are junipers. We would get much smaller junipers up in Montana. They wouldn't really form trees like this. They would just be kind of brushy ground cover. Yeah.
I think we died? No, never mind. Never mind, I'm sorry. They were talking about seeing a light at the end of that tunnel.
We're so used to the stream not working properly that, like, we're just primed to be like, uh-oh, people are saying the stream died.
I know.
Yeah. And this is awesome. Oh, I wanted to show you this, too. People have lived here for over 10,000 years, so almost as long as human beings have lived in North America. People, of course, first evolved in Africa about 500,000 years ago, something like that, 500,000 years ago, and then spread up into the Middle East, into Europe and Asia. And then there was a land bridge that formed between Siberia in Russia and Alaska here in North America. And then people just kind of walked across there in order to get to North America. That's how we had the first people. It was about 14 or 15,000 years ago, I think, if I remember correctly. But people have lived here at Grand Canyon for over 10,000 years. Today, at least 12 Native American tribes think of Grand Canyon as part of their homeland. The canyon's grandeur attracts millions of visitors each year from all over the world. And so, here, 10,000 years ago, we had some of the earliest people. Here's some people hunting a ground sloth right there. That doesn't look like Paramylodon. That might be Eremitherium or even Megatherium. I'm not sure. It's hard to see. But yeah, giant ground sloths. Nomadic hunters lived here 10,000 years ago. They may have influenced the extinction of large mammals like the Shasta sloth. That's what it is. I think that's Eremitherium is the Shasta sloth. But I could be wrong. I am rusty on my my giant sloths.
We're at 1,000 years.
Oh, how did we get to 1,000?
Identified
I
specimens.
started counting up by 100 there. Okay.
900 to...
They were going one by one, and now they're counting by 100. Okay. 1,000 years ago. Oh, okay. So we're transitioning to thinking in thousands, hence that sign. That makes sense. Here, let's keep going. We'll stop at the next sign. Yeah, there's the canyon there, just to remind you of where we are right now. I like this a lot. This is really cool. Oh, and one of them didn't make it.
Yeah, the 21 one was gone too.
And there we go. Transitioning from 1,000 years to tens of thousands of years. Now each stride is 10,000 years. 20,000 years ago, Grand Canyon was in a much cooler and wetter climate cycle. Very cool. We squeeze time along this trail so you don't have to walk a million steps, and we appreciate that. Yeah. Although I certainly wouldn't mind walking 1,000 or 1,000,000 steps along here. It's such a beautiful place. Yeah. Cave deposits and spring deposits record thousands to 100,000s of years. Look at that. It's these layers in the rocks. So cave deposits, these must be like precipitated minerals out of the water that would form like stalactites and stalagmites. They form layers like this, and they must correspond to like wet and dry cycles. That's hence the banding right there. But yeah, pretty neat. Pretty neat that we have record of these things in the rocks. Oh, yeah, let's look at this too. Banded Springs deposits. There we go. Yeah. Touch me. Okay. Don't mind if I do. Look at that. This has been cleaved like this to show you the cross section and polished. That's really beautiful. Yeah. These precipitated minerals. Really neat. Man, it's starting to get hot now. I can feel it.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And eruptions and earthquakes may happen here again. 100,000 years ago, volcanoes erupted west of here. Even today, volcanoes, earthquakes, and erosion work together to shape this spectacular landscape. Very cool. Volcano, lava flow, now eroded lava dam, temporary lake. Very cool. Imagine viewing an eruption. Pottery fragments have been found in 1,000-year-old lava flows, suggesting that people witnessed these eruptions. Interesting. Wow. Imagine if you looked out your bedroom window in the morning and saw a volcanic eruption. And then lava came down and buried your pottery? How would you feel about that? People experienced it here. Now it says, imagine you inquire at volcanoes erupting 200,000 years ago. They'd be... Oh, I guess those would be... Here, I will show you in this. It's probably going to be too hazy for you to see.
They couldn't see the last one.
Couldn't see the last one?
No,
well,
they said it was just...
If we had dinosaurs now, could they get along with a horse and a cow?
we tried.
Well, obviously.
Oh, and here it says, congratulations, you've just walked 1,000,000 years. Very nice. Now you're ready to walk a 2 billion year timeline of Grand Canyon geology. You ready for 2 billion steps, laurdee?
I'm going to wait in the car.
Okay, yeah.
I'll be waiting a while, though.
I mean, it's 2 billion steps to get down there. I assume it's 2 billion to get back, too.
Oh, my God.
Well, if I do how many steps per minute?
I can't do math in the billions.
Ios isn't here.
I know, where's Ios?
So here we've switched from hundreds of thousands of years to one stride being 1,000,000 years. Very cool. This bronze meter represents the last 1,000,000 years. And I love how it's in metric too. This being the United States, they could have done yards, but they did meters. It's just a little bit longer. But it's more than just a little bit better. Yeah. A meter, I think, is 3.1 feet? Something along those lines? 3.115 or something? And you can hear the encoder right now. Do you hear the fan going? It's trying to cool itself.
Let's try and get it in the shade a little bit.
Yeah, we'll be fine, I think. Yeah. There's another raven flying overhead. Man, the skies are so blue here. We've had so many hazy skies over the past week.
I know, it's beautiful right now.
This is just completely different from what we've seen.
And like
It's really refreshing.
Canyon, but look at this cool landscape.
Yeah. All of these cool... These must be junipers, I think. Do we have any plant experts in the chat? Anybody who knows their plants, knows their trees? I bet you these are junipers. But I'm not sure.
There's at least one sign in the Grand Canyon.
And we might be able to ask a ranger, too.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's one of the most elementary questions they get on a regular basis, or what are these trees called?
Did we finish the trail?
No, it keeps going.
Oh, okay.
See?
Oh, here, 60 million. Okay.
60 million years ago. Yeah, there we go. So we are almost to the age of dinosaurs at this point, traveling back in time. 60 million years is 16 million years after the non-avian dinosaurs went extinct. There we go. Eroded layers. We've got dinosaurs there. Coelophysis. Falcarius? Is that Falcarius there? Or maybe Nothronicus? Parasaurolophus? That's so cool. The 3 of those dinosaurs have also been found on national park lands, I think. Well, I'm not so sure about Parasaurolophus. Maybe not. Although don't we have Parasaurolophus from Escalante? Kaiparowitz? I think we do. I think those are all three of them National Parks dinosaurs. Petrified Forest National Park. This is whatever that one in New Mexico is called with Nothronicus. And then Grand Staircase Escalante for Parasaurolophus. Anyway, without uplift, there would be no Grand Canyon. The Colorado Plateau region was lifted high above sea level. The high elevation set the stage for the later carving of the Grand Canyon. Very cool. So we are here from today, 60 million years ago. Alright, so 6 million years would be... what? 6 paces, I think? Yeah. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right here would be where the non-avian dinosaurs went extinct. Pretty cool. So, well, good for us because we're going back into that time. So we're heading in the right direction here. Yeah?
Any igneous, sedimentary, or metamorphic rocks over there?
All three. Yeah. Toward the bottom, like we were talking about with the basement rocks, they used to be sedimentary, but a lot of them have been metamorphosed. And then you've got igneous intrusions as well. So we've got igneous and metamorphic at the very bottom, and most of the stuff above is sedimentary. So all those beautiful, colorful rocks you see there are sedimentary rocks.
Was there any giant fungus that existed during prehistoric times?
Not that I know of, no. I think the fossil record of fungi is pretty spotty. Yeah, but I'm not sure. I'm not really the right guy to ask, unfortunately. I work on dinosaurs. So yeah. Here's 80 million years ago. This is like around the same time that Velociraptor would have lived. A lot of the dinosaurs from Mongolia from right around this time. Like Campanian or a little older. And I like how they've got these every meter now.
Yeah.
Instead of the bigger ones. There's another missing one right there. It's a shame. You could see how it formed a
crack, yeah.
Yeah, almost like a fault in the trail. Yeah, it just cleaved along that spot there, along that inclusion. Here's 100 million years ago. We're getting into like the Middle Cretaceous here. We got yelling people taking selfies. Again, trying to be as unobtrusive and unobnoxious as possible while live streaming, you know? This is a national park. This is kind of a sacred place. You know, I want to be as unobtrusive as possible. I'm not trying to be obnoxious. What were you laughing at, Laurdee?
Nothing.
Oh, it's Urka says it's not missing. It's being studied or cleaned. Oh, here's our chance to walk over here. Can we? Are we allowed to do this? The rocks say no. So you know what? I'm going to stay behind the rocks.
Yeah,
just to be safe. Yeah. Especially since this is all on record here. They're there for a reason, said, yeah, Will of the Winds, you're right. And we'll have plenty of opportunities for beautiful vistas like this. Wow. Oh, man.
And then you can see how it's like all.
Oh, you can see those switchbacks down there. That might be an old mule trail or something. Actually, it doesn't look old. It looks well used. Zigzags down there. Very cool.
At that time,
And you can see that must be our destination right there. That must be their visitor center. Not far away.
Dinosaurs soon occupied every corner of that
Don't have a very long walk left. All right. 190 million years ago. This is around the same time that Dilophosaurus was walking around in this area. Dilophosaurus is from Arizona. It's been cool, like driving through. We drove down from Grand Junction, Colorado yesterday. We did 3 states yesterday: Colorado, Utah, and Arizona. It's a lot of driving. But driving through this part of Arizona, like I started noticing all of these different names that correspond to names, place names, and people's names from the story of the discovery of Dilophosaurus. I don't know, seeing like the Navajo sandstone, seeing like all these Navajo, places down here. Seeing Kayenta, Arizona, Tuba City, Cameron. These are all names that I remember from the discovery of Dilophosaurus, which is like one of the coolest stories, I think, from the museum at Berkeley, where I used to work, University of California Museum of Paleontology. I volunteered there when I was in high school, and Dilophosaurus is probably the most famous dinosaur whose holotype is held there at the museum. And even Williams, where the hotel is that we've been staying, Williams, Arizona. Well, Williams is the last name of the guy who discovered Dilophosaurus, Jesse Williams, who's a member of the Navajo tribe. And I wonder if that's any relation to the Williams. I know it's a common name, but the Williams that Williams, Arizona is named after. I'm not sure.
So you do.
All right, I wanted to show you this 220 million years ago. So this is around the same time. Usually 225 is the number that I hear for like the chin length formation.
What it's like.
Late Triassic, we've got Coelophysis, and the most famous dinosaur from that time and place. And then 230 million years ago, we are approaching the very first dinosaurs here. Probably show up, I think 235. This is what, 240 here? So yeah, the first dinosaurs that we have are about this old, I think. Like Eoraptor, Herrerasaurus, Styracosaurus are about this old. And we're going back even further in time. Like I've been talking about the age of dinosaurs right here. None of these rocks are represented in the Grand Canyon. They were all above this, and they've all been eroded away. Yeah?
We got a raid from Science Streams.
Hey, Science Streams. Appreciate that.
We got a sub from Flinks.
Flinks the Jinx?
Flinks the Jinx, yes.
Thank you, Flinks the Jinx. Fantastic. I appreciate that very, very much.
Someone asked whether there were dinosaur bones. Just because we have new viewers. Yeah.
There's no dinosaur bones in the Grand Canyon. All the rocks here are too old for that. So at one point there would have been Mesozoic rocks up at the top there, rocks from the age of dinosaurs, but they have all since been eroded away. So all of the rocks here are going to be older than that. Except for might be along the North Rim. There's some like age of mammal stuff that is much more recent, but yeah, I'm not sure about that though.
Does mass wasting ever happen at the Grand Canyon?
Mass wasting. I'm sure it used to. I'm trying to remember from geomorphology mass wasting. I'm not sure, I really don't know about that. That's a really good question. I'm trying to remember what mass wasting is in a geological context. I think it's basically like a wet mudslide, right? Do I have that right? I probably don't. But yeah, I don't know. I want to say that I associate that with like more tropical climates, mass wasting, but I really don't know. Yeah.
But there's pre-dinosaur bones there, right?
I don't know if we actually have body fossils of like ancient reptiles from Grand Canyon. I know we have fossil trackways from like the Coconino sandstone. So we've got footprints from ancient reptiles from before the time of the dinosaurs. I don't know if we actually have bones from these animals. I'm not sure. Yeah. Oh, and it's a mudslide. Okay, I'm glad I had that right. Mass wasting. I was like 30% sure. So, I guess I've impressed myself a little bit there.
There's one.
Yeah?
Danny, do you think it's possible that massive volcanic trap events like the Siberian traps can happen on Earth? Or has the Earth's core cooled down so that these type of events will no longer happen?
No, it could definitely happen again, yeah. No, the Earth's core is not cooled significantly, and that stuff doesn't actually come from the core. It comes from the mantle. Or even from, like, the very upper layer of the mantle. So yeah, we will have massive volcanic events again. Yellowstone will eventually erupt again. It probably won't happen in our lifetimes or anywhere close to that, but yeah, I'm sure we will have massive volcanism once again at some point. I just don't know when. Yeah. So, by the way, laurdee, or for anybody else who might not know, was it the Deccan traps that they mentioned, or the Siberian traps?
I couldn't tell.
Either one. So, this is like you had like an area the size of an entire country that's just volcanoes and just massive basaltic lava flows and like huge amounts of sulfur dioxide spewed up into the atmosphere. It's just like, imagine if like the entire, well, like with the Deccan traps, this is like when India was like moving northward, and I think it was before it actually collided with Asia. Well, no. Scratch all that. I'm not sure if that's true. So scratch it. Anyway, it was just a period of mass volcanism where it's just like a huge area. It's just all lava flows. Like an area the size of Texas, we'll say. Just volcanoes and like slow-moving basaltic lava and that kind of thing. All kinds of gases being spewed up. I'm sure we will see that sometime again, but I say we will see. I'm sure that will happen again. I won't be here to see it. It'll be millions of years in the future.
Contains almost all of the
very cool.
North
So the top layer,
identified specimens of trove.
this is the Kaibab Formation, 270 million years old, which you're looking at over there. That yellow over there. The horizontal layers were deposited as sediments over millions of years. Each layer covered the one below. Time, pressure, and burial turned them into sedimentary rocks. And there are fossils here too. Is this a brachiopod right there? Yeah, pretty neat. Some kind of a clam-like animal, a brachiopod. They are now extinct. But we can see it here on the south rim and the north rim. The very top layer there. Yellowish sandstone.
Raided with a party of 4.
Hey, thank you for the raid. I appreciate that. Welcome to the Grand Canyon. And it's great to have you here, and I'm glad you could join us. We're having a great time, and we are walking through time right now on this neat little kind of interpretive trail. We're talking about the geology, we're talking about the history of life on Earth, and how we can study it. Toro Weep sandstone. Cool, this is an actual sample. Cut and polished. You can see here. Beautiful. Like an ancient channel deposit.
This one has little tracks in it.
There we go. Yeah, there's our Coconino sandstone. Little reptile tracks. Very cool. So fossil footprints, to the untrained eye, usually don't look like very much. But here they've found some particularly pretty ones. You can actually see the digits there. The little claws. It's from an ancient lizard-like animal. Pretty cool. This is one of the best examples of vertebrate fossils that we have from the Grand Canyon. Yeah, 275 million years old. So this is about 40 million years old than the oldest dinosaur fossils we have. Pretty cool. I wonder if that's from some sort of ancient reptilomorph, kind of like Ariops or something like that. And that would be from... Coconino sandstone would be pretty near the top there. It's one of those yellowish layers. And the Coconino sandstone, of course, is Aeolian. It means it's like wind lane deposits, deposited by wind. There's the hermit shell right there. Little plastic straws. I'm going to pick this up.
I'll put them in my
Yeah, that's chewed on, but like, I don't know. Always try and pick up trash when we're in places like this. Leave it cleaner than we found it. It's funny, the Coconino sandstone, I've heard a lot about it in the past, because that's kind of like... Alright, some background here. Is that a rabbit over there? Or is that a tree? I don't know.
It's a rabbit.
Yeah. Oh. It's okay. It ran away. That's fine.
I was very excited.
The Grand Canyon, of course, is a really magical place. It's a wonderful kind of open-air geology textbook. Not everybody's happy about that. Creationists have long kind of held a deep grudge against the Grand Canyon, because here you have literally hundreds of millions of years of rock just exposed for people to look at. And so for people who have convinced themselves that they need to believe that the Earth is less than 10,000 years old, a place like this presents a real problem to them. And so, you know, creationists of various stripes, especially like biblical young Earth creationists, who think that basically the biblical book of Genesis should be treated as a geology textbook, they've long tried to like explain away the Grand Canyon and say that like it's actually, this was formed during Noah's flood or something like that, despite the fact that floods don't form canyons. Like they think that this is all covered by water and somehow this rock got, I don't know, scoured away. It was deposited and scoured away at the same time. Like as this was mud, it also hardened into these shapes or something like that. It's never been clear at all. And they point to the fact that most of this stuff is laid down, you know, by water. So why couldn't it be a global flood? But places like, you know, formations like the Coconino sandstone present a huge problem for them, because those are aeolian. They're clearly laid down by wind. These are shifting sand dunes, wind deposited. And you usually don't have wind at the bottom of, you know, a giant column of floodwater. So they've tried to explain it away and say, like, oh no, it actually was water, and these animals were walking through the mud after it was deposited under the mud. It's never made any sense. But they hate the Coconino sandstone. And it's pretty funny to like watch them grapple with that. Some kooky stuff. It really is. So we're right here. Right, basically, at the rim. This is super cool. Look at that. Watch that first step. It's a big one. Watch your hat, Lord. I don't want to have to go. I don't want to have to go climb to the bottom and get it.
Put my strap on.
Okay.
Go away from the edge.
Okay. Chef Laurdee here is not a big fan of heights, so anyway, there's somebody trying to enjoy the canyon peacefully. We will be quiet right now. It is, yeah. Those were ferrous minerals that were oxidized. Gives them that red color. We were talking about this a little bit earlier. So back long before the age of dinosaurs, there was a lot more oxygen in the atmosphere. And atmospheric oxygen, you know, oxygen likes to bond to other stuff. It likes to oxidize things. And usually the easiest place for it to do that, you know, is in the soil. Iron is one of like the key components in soil and other kinds, you know, rocks and stuff like that. And oxygen likes to get into it, oxidize it, rust it, make it that nice rusty red color. So if you find really, really red rocks like we see down there, it's evidence that there was a lot more oxygen in the atmosphere back then. Or that you had just like really iron-rich rocks that were ready to be rusted, oxidized. Yeah. Pretty cool. You're okay. You don't have to catch up. About how many people do we have watching right
We
now?
have almost 200.
Wow.
98.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's awesome. This is super cool. Should we do super quick intros again for anybody who might be new?
Definitely.
We'll introduce ourselves for anybody who may have just waltzed in. I'm Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. I stream paleontology stuff. Talk about fossils, I answer people's questions. I work on dinosaurs, so that's really my wheelhouse, but anything about evolution or the history of life on Earth, I'll do my best to answer it for you and share my passion for this stuff. Right here is Laurdee.
I'm laurdee from Cooking with Laurdee. Usually I'm cooking, I'm in my house, but today I'm out and about with Danny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be at the Grand Canyon. This has been amazing.
It's been pretty cool. I've only ever been here once in my life. I was here for like less than 20 minutes, it felt like. So now we're here for a day or two, and it's pretty awesome. We're going on this walk through time right now. So, the trail of time, 460 million years ago. These rocks are represented, I think, in the Grand Canyon. I don't think that's part of one of the unconformities, one of the blank spots. So yeah. Anyway, we're on this great big road trip right now. I've been on this trip for almost a month now. Going all over the American West, visiting different museums and sites of interest, places to see fossils, and trying to share it with everybody. So it has been super cool. Laurdee joined me up in Bozeman, Montana.
Mm-hmm.
We went
About a week and a half ago?
Yeah.
So, I don't even remember. It's been a whirlwind.
It's easy to lose track of time on a trip like this. Every day there's something new, different place, different things to see. It's been really awesome. But yeah, you joined us for Museum of the Rockies, and we've done a bunch of museums after that.
Yep.
Yeah, I went down through Utah and visited a museum in Colorado a couple days ago. We went to Dinosaur National Monument, which was really awesome.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Bend the bar, then their four raiders
this is
want
neat.
to
Bright
know what
Angel
it's
Shale
like.
right here. This is another one of those Paleozoic ecosystems. Oh, there's a little lizard right there. Did you see him eat the bug?
No, I didn't, but he's so cute.
Looks like a fence lizard. I wonder... Genus Scleropus? Are you a western fence lizard? What are you? Very cool. Some used to people as well. Lizardy guy? Doing your lizard thing? This looks different from the western fence lizards we have at home. Back home in the Bay Area, California. That might be a different species, could even be a different genus. I don't know.
We got a raid from Loban the Bard.
Hey! Thank you very much. Really appreciate that raid. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Yeah. How many people in that party?
4.
Nice. Welcome, Raiders. It's good to have you here. Glad you could join us. Again, anybody, everybody else who's watching, if we get a raid, check out that Raiders page. See if their content seems like something you'd be interested in. Give them a follow. Really appreciate the raid. It helps new people find this channel and helps with my mission of science outreach and education. So that's awesome. And Raiders, welcome to the Grand Canyon. There it is over there. Just walking along the south rim right now. And once we get past some of these trees, we'll have a better view of the canyon walls. Yeah.
Any mechanical or chemical weathering there?
Would weathering by water be considered chemical weathering? I don't know. And would aeolian weathering by wind, be considered mechanical? I don't know. When I think of mechanical weathering, I usually think of like glaciers. I don't think we've ever had glaciers here in Grand Canyon. This is mostly just erosion of, Colorado River and sizing down through these rock layers here. A little glimpse of it there. Over here. There we are. Look at that. Beautiful view of the canyon there. Just astonishing. Yeah. Wow. And so here, I guess we've gotten back to about 630 million years ago on this walk through time. Animal life appeared about 630 million years ago. Sedimentary rock layers at Grand Canyon, as elsewhere on Earth, record an explosion in the diversity of animal life. We call this the Cambrian explosion. There we go right there. Explosion of life. Very dramatic. But yeah, I think our modern consensus on the Cambrian explosion is that it wasn't actually as dramatic as we used to think. It's mostly just like the rocks before it were never really particularly well studied, or we didn't have a lot of fossils from before, so we thought it was actually life exploding, and it turns out the diversification of life may have actually been more gradual than that. At any rate, Cambrian explosion is a memorable phrase, and it's good for teaching. But yeah. Trilobites like this one from the Bright Angel Shale were some of the earliest animals.
Almost all of the North American...
Maybe in the grand scheme of things, compared to all animals today, but trilobites are a long time after, like, the Ediacaran fauna and things like that. There were lots of animals with soft body parts that didn't fossilize super well. We have that are certainly earlier than trilobites. Another thing about the Cambrian explosion is that, like, animals with hard parts diversified. They're easier to fossilize, but there are surely a lot of soft-bodied animals before then that we just don't have records of. At least not records that are nearly as complete. When you've got hard parts, it's much easier to become a fossil. Yeah. Bones and shells and teeth fossilize much more readily than, like, soft bits. Very cool. Alright, and the Bright Angel Shale, the layer of rock that beautiful trilobite is from down here near the bottom of the canyon, actually. 515 million years old. Right along there, kind of that shelf. So, I wonder if we can see it from here. You can just kind of barely see it. Actually. Yeah, okay, so that would be along there. Along the back. You see the, like, really dark part at the bottom of the canyon? That's a lot of, like, Precambrian, like, metamorphosed prior sedimentary rock. And above that would be the Bright Angel Shale, where that trilobite is from. About 500 million years old.
YouTube video?
Really cool. Yeah. Very neat.
Under the banner?
Pardon?
Under the banner?
I'm not sure what you mean.
For YouTube, if I was going to look it up.
Oh, no, we can give you a card, actually, yeah.
I don't think I have one on me.
I've got some on me, yeah.
Okay.
No, it's a live stream, actually. We're on a platform called Twitch. So I do, like, science outreach on there, and I'll give you a card. I think I have a couple more in here. But there you go, yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
We've been on this road trip visiting a whole bunch of different museums and fossil sites and stuff all around the American West. I'm a paleontologist, so this is my way of reaching out to the public. And,
cool.
Yeah.
Interesting little camera you got there.
Thanks, yeah, it's pretty nifty.
Yeah. Well, have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Here, let's, I think we'll stay over here for just a minute. And we'll stand in the shade because I can hear the encoder there. The fan is going off, trying to cool itself. There we are. I think I've got like 2 cards left, so hopefully... Well, we'll go back to the car and we'll get some more.
I've got some in my purse, I just don't have them on me.
Yeah, no worries.
You want a sip of water?
Water would be
Hydrate's
great.
good.
I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
We've been getting a couple hydrates, but it wasn't the right time.
And greatest things are invisible. This is he, an IRL follower. There you go. Thank you, laurdee. Ooh. Ice water. It's nice to take an ice water break. A nice water break.
Yeah.
Getting those hydrates in. Yeah. I see a bunch of people in here I've never seen before.
Yeah, we have a bunch of new viewers.
Yannervite, I Am Spoiled, Vape Dad. Great to have you here. Welcome. There. We'll continue on the direction we were going in. Moving toward the other visitor center. I bet you they'll have a drinking fountain there if I want to fill that water bottle up too. Yeah. It's going to be just ice in there after a while. Really cool. do wonder about these trees. I'm sure they are junipers, but they're so much more different from the ones that I'm used to. We've got these other pines. It almost looks like a fir right there, interspersed among them.
What terrestrial biome is the Grand Canyon?
You know, I don't know what name it would be. That's a great question.
Yeah.
This be like, would you call this high desert? We're at very high altitude right now, like 6,000, 7,000 feet. So yeah, you might call this high desert. I don't know what like Köppen climate classification this would be. Somebody can look it up and tell us. But yeah, it's pretty dry here. It's very high up. Very sandy soil, I would imagine. Because, I don't know. The canyon there gives us a nice, cross-section of what the sediment looks like. With that as a guide, I'd think that this soil here would be really, really sandy. Pretty arid. Not a lot of rain. Claire versus high desert or chaparral? Yeah, sounds about right. And we've seen some cool critters here so far. Seen a few different mammals. Chipmunks, squirrels, turkey vultures, woodpeckers. I thought I saw a magpie earlier and a bluebird, but I could be mistaken on both of those. The wind's picking up. It's going to bring our temperature down a little bit, which is nice.
Yeah.
Sure, you get down into the canyon and wind might be a rare and welcome thing. But up here we get lots of it, which is nice. Yeah. There's a cactus right there. That's the first cactus I've seen so far. Check that out. Long spines on it there.
I've seen a couple.
Yeah? I guess I just haven't had my eyes
There's
open
one up
properly.
there, too.
Oh yeah, hanging out in the shade. That's interesting. Here, we'll go say hello to the cactus right there. Yeah, look at this. I would not want to do a face plant in this guy. Look at the little fruits in there. Very cool. Not sure what kind of cactus it is, but I should probably take a picture and log it for iNaturalist. Oh, I can't because that's okay. I'm using my phone for chat right now. I forget it's here on my forearm.
Do you want to hear a list of the tree species?
That sounds great. Yeah.
Okay, some of the tree species include white fir, Engelmann spruce, blue spruce, Douglas fir, corkbark fir, ponderosa pine, Utah juniper, alligator juniper, Colorado pinyon, quaking aspen, and Fairmont cottonwood, Gamble oak, and Arizona walnut.
Gamble oak.
Yes.
Interesting. That must be that oak that we saw with the big crenulations on it. Pretty neat. We were talking about that before the stream. Like, these don't look like our Coast Live oaks, not at all. Pretty neat. Thank you for that list. That's enlightening. Ooh. Grand Canyon Supergroup, we're getting some older and older rocks here. 760 million years old. Not going to find many fossils in that. Very cool. I love that they actually have samples that were taken up from these exposures and brought up here so that you can...
Yeah, it's really great. You
can actually touch them.
Hands-on museum.
Exactly.
Exhibit.
Yeah.
I also really love polished stone.
Yeah. Nice. Fresh surface, as we would say in field geology. And get out the hammer and get yourself a fresh surface there. And then, ooh, what's this grungy thing?
Yeah. Jupiter limestone.
790 million years old.
Wow, look at that. You can really see the layers. Beautiful.
And it's like, it's funny. So limestone reacts with water. And so you get all of these like hollows and stuff in between. So yeah, out of all of the rocks that have been put up here, This might be one of those ones that it doesn't retain its polish for nearly as long. Because both rainwater and also just like the oils in people's hands are going to break it down a little bit. Yeah, interesting. Very interesting.
Paramedics Underground asks, when looking at a vertical rock layer outcrop, can you make environment determinations simply based on color, dark, light, red, gray, etc.?
Sometimes, yeah, yeah. I mean, in a place like the Grand Canyon, you're dealing with a lot of vertical space there. It's a lot of distance, and so that represents a ton of time. So you really kind of have to learn the different rock layers and learn how old they are. And if you look up close, though, you'll be able to make little determinations. There you go. Oxygen levels were higher. Maybe there's more iron in the rock for whatever reason. You might be able to find index fossils that can give you a clue as to how old the rock was. If you find brachiopods, you know you're in something older than, 250 million years old. Yeah. But if you're, say, in, like, looking through Hell Creek Formation rocks, like the sort of rocks that I've done field work in Montana, I don't know, if you have a skilled geological eye, you'll be able to pick out things like, braided streams and, like, channels incising down and stuff like that. It's cool to be able to just, at a glance, look at some rock facies and go like, oh, yeah, this is a channel right here. It's incised down through the underlying rocks. Like this was an ancient floodplain here. This was like a quiet lake. This is a fast-moving river with big clasts in it. Yeah. Geology kind of lets you travel through time a little bit. Lets you look into the past in a way that like regular people can't. It's pretty cool. It's almost like having a superpower or something, but it's real. And exactly, I'm spoiled. Knowing the time frame, absolutely right. The more context information you have, the better conclusions you're going to come to. Here, let's look at that down there. Holy moly. Just astonishing. I've always wanted to go on like a geology rafting trip down the Colorado River through the Grand Canyon. I would love to do that sometime. I hear that the National Center for Science Education actually holds something like that, or they used to every year. I'd love to do that sometime. That would be super cool. And I'd love to visit the Grand Canyon with some soft rock geologists at some point. The people who know sedimentary rocks really well, who know their Paleozoic strata. It'd be really neat just to be able to pick their brain for a while. I would really love that, I'm out of my wheelhouse here. This is not the sort of thing that I've studied, not the sort of thing I'm well acquainted with. So yeah. It's funny, I feel like a tourist here. And Makawaka, no Starlink. Starlink doesn't work in a mobile capacity. I'm using like live data, mobile data through LiveView, with a little LiveView Solo right here. There, you see it there? Let's hope it doesn't overheat. It's gonna get hot today. Yeah. I'm supposed to make it happen. I'd love to do a rafting trip like that. We'll see. I don't know if I'd want to bring streaming equipment on that, on the river.
Trip?
Yeah.
No.
I'd have to waterproof everything first. I don't even know how you would do that. Oh, and Circus says, what banner are you under? Is where are you from? Oh no, I think he actually meant like what YouTube channel or something like that, if he could look it up. I think that's what he meant. What banner are you under? That's well, sounds like trucker speak.
YouTube. I don't YouTube. I didn't know what he was talking about.
Yeah. No, I don't even know if that's. Do people on YouTube talk like that? I'm not sure. Yeah. Oh, there you go, Java source. No, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, yeah. All right, we've got another sign with a cross section coming up here. We'll take a look at that. And we've got a fork in the road. Yeah. Here we are right here. Fork in the trail. But we'll check out this sign over here. Oh, and it says you are leaving the Trail of Time, a geology timeline.
Oh. Okay,
So this is not the branch we want to take. But I like this with these. Are these, I wonder if these are actually samples from these different layers. That would be so cool.
That'd be really
Like
cool.
really cool on a meta level. That we would actually have like Coconino sandstone, and it's one at the top. What was this called? All the way down to the basement rocks. I bet you it's not, but I like to think that it is. Pretty cool. Alright, we'll keep going this way. And I haven't seen any turkey vultures since this morning. Must be too hot for them. Or maybe they're down feeding on something. But we saw some beautiful turkey vultures earlier this morning, just soaring around, riding those warm updrafts that come up from the canyon. Yeah. Just want to give you a view from over here. Very cool. Yeah, so these would be Permian age rocks, these kind of whitish yellowish ones toward the top. Again, from I think 270 million years old, these rocks right here. About 30 million years older than the first dinosaurs. Or thereabouts. Earliest dinosaurs we have so far, at least. Yeah. We'll check out that sign when this other visitor's done. Just admire this landscape for right now. Incredible. What do you think, Laurdee?
I have no words for it. I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's
sublime.
Yeah, it's sublime.
Yeah. Just incredible. Here we have massive unconformity. The Great Unconformity, as it's sometimes called. 1.2 billion years is missing from the rock record here. Gaps in the rock record are called unconformities. They represent times when rocks were eroded from the rock record, like chapters torn from a book. There's also disconformities, I think, too. Those might be when the rocks were never laid down in the first place. I forget. But, yeah. 1.72 billion years ago, the Vishnu Mountains were in this area. Basement rocks formed deep below the Vishnu Mountains. Erosion leveled the mountains. 20 kilometers of rock was gone. So 12 miles of rock was eroded from the surface there. And then, this is at the end of like the Precambrian. So 12 miles of rock eroded. Enormous. This is like a mile to the bottom of the canyon. So imagine that times 12. Just eroded away. Over...
I can't imagine.
Yeah. Over the course of like 500 million years. Yeah. I know, right? Yeah. It boggles the mind. And so these rocks are tilted at the bottom, just like you see here. All tilted right there. And then new rocks were laid on top. And that's why you have these nice horizontal layers there. But I'm sure if you go down to the bottom of the canyon, in fact, you can actually see it down there. Yeah, look at how there's like vertical lines. If you go way down to the bottom of the canyon, you see the rocks are darker. There's like vertical striations. I think those might actually be He's down here in the basement rocks. Right there. I don't know. This could be wishful thinking on my part. But yeah. It's just cool to imagine.
Can we do a quick, like, someone's asking where's all the water gone? We just have new viewers. Can we do a quick, like,
absolutely,
how did Canyon get here?
So what we're looking at right now, Grand Canyon was formed by the Colorado River. All of these rocks were deposited a really long time ago, and they would have just been flat, under the soil. You'd never know about them, except about 6 million years ago, like this whole area, just got lifted up through tectonic forces, kind of like, I think that's something to do with like basin and range faulting too, or basin and range topography. But anyway, this whole area of Arizona just got lifted up like this. And that changed where water and everything would go. That changed the direction of the ancient Colorado River. And so it started to carve through the surface up here. And then year after year, it would carry sediment through here and just kind of scour away at the bottom on its quest to go find the ocean.
Hello, I'm Sam.
And eventually, just gravity just pulling this water toward the ocean, pulling it downhill.
Forever.
Just kept doing that deeper and deeper and deeper through here until you have this marvelous canyon carved out, forming all of these like tributary canyons and slot canyons and all kinds of cool stuff through there. So if you go to the very bottom, you can't actually see it here, but the Colorado River is still running down there. We saw it earlier, and some of the viewers who were here earlier saw it too. It basically looks like just kind of like stagnant chocolate milk sitting at the bottom there. It's so full of sediment. And the Colorado River, I think, used to be, even in recent memory, or in recorded history, used to be much more fast flowing, much more fierce. So much of the river has been diverted for agricultural use and everything. I think it never even reaches the ocean anymore. It used to flow down into the Gulf of California, between Mexico and Baja California, like south of San Diego. I think it's just a dry channel now. All of that water just gets, it's an I drink your milkshake kind of a situation, just gets, drunk up by agriculture before it ever reaches the ocean anymore. And so, even up here, I think the river's at a much lower level than it used to be.
Are put together correctly? The bones.
Yeah.
Martin Dunn is
You're
asking,
smart. What do you think?
from soil here, can we analyze
Do a research
the
on
climate
that,
change over the
Oliver.
last 6 million years?
Yeah, certainly, yeah. I know of places like cave deposits are particularly good for that because they record this sort of thing in really high resolution. So you can take isotopic samples from cave deposits and figure out. I don't know if that would be really good for climate. For climate, you would want to look for different seeds and things like that. Plants might be one of your best bets. If you could figure out what plants were growing at the time, you can figure out what the climate was like back then. And that's happened here in Grand Canyon.
So you do dig up dinosaurs?
I wish I knew a little bit more about that and I could tell you a story or something about it, but I don't.
Astroconic and their 18 readers want to know what it's like.
Party of 18.
Hey, Astroconic, welcome. Great to have you here. Thanks for the raid. Welcome to the Grand Canyon. This is really awesome to have you here. I hope you had a great stream, by the way. Thank you for your support.
Monsters. We came here to find fossils.
Yeah. Pretty neat. We're not used to streaming on the weekends like this. I'm not, at least. This is part of this great big road trip. So, again, for anybody who might be new, my name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. Normally I stream from my office back in Oakland, answering people's questions about dinosaurs, going over fossil news, teaching people about, this remarkable history of this planet that we live on. But over the past almost month now, I've been on this great big road trip, going all around the American West, visiting different museums and fossil sites, and trying to broadcast whenever I can, so I can share all of this with you. And here, we'll go down this way.
Really spectacular. Spare
I'm
no
joined by Laurdee. Want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, I'm Laurdee from Cooking with Laurdee. Give me a follow if you like eating and watching people make food, eating good food.
82 gift subs in the channel.
I'm usually doing cooking content, but right now I'm out on this awesome road trip with Danny.
Yeah, it's been super, super cool. And wow, look at that. I was on the first part of this trip by myself. And then I was joined by Ios and Laurdee for a while. And then Ios had to go back and work on some stuff at Twitch. Ios works at Twitch. But she also streams. You should give her a follow, too. She actually does video game content, which I don't really do. And Laurdee doesn't really do. But yeah, and definitely give Laurdee a follow, too. If you're one of those people who, like, eats food, I think you'd appreciate what she does. Look at that. Wow. Just amazing. Incredible. Incredible. Again, this is... You can read all about different geologic processes. You can read about, you know, erosion taking place, uniformitarian scale, but like to see it in person, to experience it, is just something altogether different. It's pretty special. Yeah. And look, we can actually, I guess we can actually see that. Shinumo, Hakatai, and Bass down there. And that is the Grand Canyon supergroup down there under that shelf. That's such a cool thing that you can like find unconformities and just see them. Just plain as day. Wow. There's a cave down there too. Do you see that?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I don't know how many hundreds or thousands of caves there are here in Grand Canyon, but there's a lot. Very cool. Very, very cool. There's one of these fir trees again. I don't know what kind of fir that is, but...
Well, you mentioned fossils. That made me wonder, are there any fossil sites around the canyon? Like, what type of animals would have lived there around the river 4 to 5 million years ago?
Oh, 4 to 5 million years ago. Yeah, so we've got a lot of fossils of animals from the rocks before the canyon formed. So the canyon itself is just the river cutting down through these ancient rocks. So in those super ancient rocks, we do have fossils of different animals. But basically, we don't really have a lot of deposition taking place here anymore. This is an erosional environment, so we haven't really had fossils being deposited here for basically, like, I don't know, a long time. There might be a few spots where you do have deposition taking place and things are getting buried. Basically, this is a spot where you just find super ancient stuff. We're not going to find a lot of fossils of more modern creatures from like 4 to 6 million years ago. Except maybe in the caves. In fact, I think the caves are the exception. That's where we do have remains of giant ground sloths from the Pleistocene and from a little bit earlier than that.
We didn't come here to fight with monsters.
You know, mountain goats, bighorn sheep, critters like that. Yeah. The Shasta sloth. I think we saw that in one of the displays, and that really rings some bells. I want to say that there's some caves around here with a few sloth bones, but a lot of sloth dung, which can be hugely informative, like not fossil sloth poop, but just poop from sloths from thousands or maybe even approaching 1 million years ago. It tells you what these animals were eating, which gives you a lot of information about what plants lived in this area, and in turn what the climate was like.
I'm a
so,
paleontologist.
Well, that's not even a good lie.
It's amazing how informative something like sloth dung can be. Yeah, it's like worth its weight in gold.
What about petrified wood and such? Is that prevalent in the area?
I don't think it is. If you're in Arizona and you're looking for petrified wood, go to Petrified Forest National Park. Yeah, they've got a lot of like Triassic age petrified wood there. Here, yeah, I don't think you're going to have a lot of it. I don't think there were many like big woody trees when most of these Paleozoic rocks were being deposited. So like the reds and the yellow ones that you see up there. A lot of that is going to be like Carboniferous in age or Permian. I think like woody trees were first kind of starting to come into their own during the Permian, but it's not until like the Triassic that they really take off, I think. Not a paleobotanist, so don't quote me on that. But yeah. So I'm not sure there were trees that were capable of producing a lot of petrified wood back then. Yeah. And Master Split says, any stratified rocks? Of course, yeah. I've got beautiful rock strata down there. Some of it like really nicely cross-bedded, and you can just read it like a book. Yeah. I wish I could get up close and show you, but I'm not really allowed to clamber down the side of the canyon. We got to stay on these paths. So, yeah. You having a good time?
I'm typing a chat.
Nice, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, already shepherding chat through this. Appreciate that.
Any stratified rocks?
Yeah, I just talked about that.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Great. I'm behind.
No, you're okay.
Also, again, trying not to trip while I'm typing.
Yeah. How are those hiking boots holding up?
Oh, great. My feet
Nice.
are very comfortable.
Cool. These are the same boots I always wear, so I'm always set for stuff like this. And hello, Kirov. How are you doing? Good to see you. Welcome to the Grand Canyon. I wish I could show you, but we're walking past this little bluff right here, and I'm sure we'll round a corner, and the canyon walls will be clearly visible. Oh, we're getting down into the billions of years. 1,350 million years ago. On this trail of time that we're walking along. 1.3 billion years. I think that's like the first fossils that we have of multicellular life are about 1.3 bill. Something like that. 1.38 maybe. Yeah. I hear a train over there. I'm really glad we didn't take the train here.
Yeah, me too.
I mean,
I'm so happy we did it the way that we did. Got up really early, got here on time.
This has been great.
Yeah, we had some time kind of to ourselves almost in the park.
Yeah, it was like empty.
Around 7 a.m. It was really nice.
We roll into one of the big parking lots, and it's like we're one of the first cars in there. Yeah. The Geology Museum wasn't even open yet. There was nobody to like check our passes at the front. Like, okay, honor system, I guess.
Right.
Was really looking forward to handing over that National Parks pass and being like, yeah, we're VIPs. Or, we bought the all National Parks pass. Here is the canyon right here.
Whoa.
Yeah, there we go. We'll peek through the trees. Yeah. Amazing. Like every new spot, every new vista, it just looks, there's something new. It's just, yeah. And I certainly wouldn't mind doing some field work through here. Like, maybe some work in the Coconino looking for trackways or something. That would be super cool.
Luckily it was dead.
Were you able to work after that?
Yeah.
You were?
Alright, still walking along through here. Glad I got this wind weasel on right now.
Yeah.
The wind noise would be intolerable, probably. There we go. Are those turkey vultures over there? Yeah, they've got that up angle to their wings. 3 of them. Just riding those updrafts. You could probably barely see them in the camera. But, really cool to see. And then there's some cliff swallows flitting around, too. Doing their thing. They're always so fun to watch.
Kirsten asks whether there was a fire along here recently. The trunk look charred.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah. I think part of that might be some like darker lichens that are growing on the bark. That's why they might look particularly dark, and it could just be a trick of the camera too. Yeah.
Okay.
Not quite. No, 720p. But yeah, I've had really good signal so far. This has been great.
Oh,
yeah.
720, perfect from YouTube.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. See you around. I wonder if they have a YouTube channel or something. They seem to know a thing or two. And there's no zoom on the camera, Mama Bon Bon. No, this is a Sony Action Cam HDR AS15. It's kind of like the poor man's GoPro, but it's better and cheaper than a GoPro. So go figure.
So the smart man's GoPro.
Yeah. The smart poor man's GoPro. And, oh, lovely bench right here. Check this out. Oh man. Look at that. Wow. But yeah, the Go Amateur, says Harass, rather than GoPro. I like it. No, I mean, it's higher quality than a GoPro, and this has image stabilization, which GoPro didn't until very recently, I think. This camera's great. I love this thing. It is so good. Yeah. Pretty awesome. The only thing I didn't like about it is that there's no like case that you can use that can accommodate a microphone and like the cables running out and everything. So I had to 3D print my own case for this phone, for this camera. And I was planning on doing like several different iterations, and this was just going to be like prototype 1, and it ended up being the one that I'm using. So it's a little bit, I don't know, a little bit scuffed, as people might say, but I don't know, it's worked so far.
Want some?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind having some water. We should be almost there. I think this is just around the corner. The visitor center. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Lovely. My water bottle keeps things so cold that like I'm gonna run out of water pretty soon because the ice hasn't melted. I'm gonna have to leave it open for a while and let the ice melt. But we'll probably go down to the visitor center and get some water. You can hear the train too, not just the train horn, but like the actual.
XF Kirsten gifted Gen Creation a subscription. XF Kirsten gifted a tier 1 sub to Gen Creation.
Yeah, it is.
This is their first gift sub in the channel.
Kirsten gifted a sub to Gen Creation. Gen Creation.
Hey, thank you, Kirsten. Really appreciate that. Thanks for your ongoing support. And Gen Creation, enjoy those emotes. I think you'll like them a lot. I made those dinosaur emotes. I'm looking forward to making a bunch more when this trip is over, when I'm back in Oakland. Yeah. Bicyclists here. It's the first bicyclist we've seen so far.
Actually, the only bicycle on the trail.
Really?
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I guess that would make sense because, one wrong move and that's a long way down. Yeah. Wow, you can see some little tributaries of the Colorado down there. Running down through the bottom of there. It's how all these kind of like side canyons get formed. When people hear about the Colorado River forming the Grand Canyon, they picture just like, oh yeah, just like cut straight down, really simple, just, you know, like one little canyon. But it doesn't work that way. I mean, when you get rainstorms and stuff through here, you know, it forms kind of side canyons and stuff because that water has to have a place to go, and it just gets like more and more complex and beautiful. You know, with this incredible landscape like that. Just astonishing. Yeah. Yeah.
Coordination asks if this is our first time at the Grand Canyon.
It's my second time. It might as well be my first. My first time I was only here for like 20 minutes. Yeah. I keep saying, maybe I could like tell you the story real quick. Well, let me let you tell your story first.
I was here as a child, maybe when I was like 8 or 9, and so I vaguely remember seeing the canyon, but I don't remember much about it at all. So this is super amazing, and to be able to spend time here as an adult has been
This is their first gift sub in the channel.
I totally agree, yeah. I was here probably in like 2005 or 6. I was on a trip with my mom and my little brother and my mom's husband at the time and his 2 kids. And yeah, we were coming from like, I think we were going from Phoenix up to Las Vegas, and we stopped here. We were gonna try and do like a half day here, but his kids just did not want to be here. They're like, I'm tired, I'm hungry, I'm bored, I don't want to be, let's go back to the hotel. So we ended up spending like, it felt like 20 minutes here, and then we left. It's hugely disappointing, especially for somebody who, you know, is interested in Earth history. Like, this is a magnificent place, and I was just so excited to be able to come here and see the rocks and interpret them, and you know, just kind of be part of all this.
Instead, we make better memories about the Grand Canyon.
Exactly, yeah. And now I get to share it with everybody else too, which is so cool. So, yeah, I apologize if I sound salty about that. It was a long time ago, but it's so good to actually be here and be able to spend some real time here. I'm really looking forward to maybe coming back someday and maybe doing some field work here, or, you know, being something other than a tourist, you know? Yeah. I don't know. Really say I'm a tourist right now, though?
Me?
No, us. We are interpretive guides right now.
Whatever you want, Danny.
Through here. Okay. Oh, all these different rocks all in short succession. You must have
1.7 million years old.
1.730 million years. So,
oh, wow.
1,730 million years old. So that's 1.73 billion.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Nice granite there. Really oxidized granite. Like really reddish. Granite. This is really cool because this actually has these like magmatic intrusions in it. Or maybe it's metamorphosed, but this was like compressed and cooked by yeah, I guess by magma underneath the surface. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Got some more granite. These are all called granite, but I think more properly you'd call them granodiorite. I remember there's a line from, I think John McPhee has it in one of his books. Like, geologists, you know, have got really, really specific terms for things, but, you know, the science is, geologists tend to be more kind of like casual about stuff, just like paleontologists, you know? And so, the proper term for these is granodiorite. But everybody still calls them granite anyway. You know, geologists say granodiorite in church and granite on every other day of the week.
Ooh, look at this black with the red.
Yeah. The Rama schist. Very cool. Some evidence of metamorphism here. Super awesome. Super awesome. Some pretty stuff. I like that a lot. I hear that train ever clearer.
Are granite and granodiorite two different things?
So granite is like it's more specific rock than granodiorite. I think granodiorite is, yeah. So like granite is only from a few places in the world. Granite proper. Granodiorite, I think, is like a broader group of rocks. Granodiorites. But again, you could just say granite. Doesn't really matter. Just being pedantic at this point. Yeah. Man, I'd love to be able to catch this train before it leaves. Like, just see it.
Train?
No, just look at it.
Oh, I was like, we didn't pay for tickets.
Well, you've never just ridden the rails, laurdee? Just hopped a train?
I don't live on the edge like you do, Danny.
I don't know if it's stopping or starting, but it's doing something. We might miss it. That'd be okay. Grand Canyon's rocks are incredibly old. Oh yeah, this talks about natural radioactive decay, radioactive isotopes like we were talking about. Yeah. The 1.84 billion year old Elvis Chasm gneiss is almost unimaginably old. That's the rock from the very bottom of the Hand Canyon. It's only 2/5 the age of the Earth. That's super cool.
This is such a nice trail.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's not, the most challenging, but...
Certainly not. No, but
I'm really enjoying it.
It's very accessible. And
it's a very accessible trail, and it's nice to stream from.
Exactly, yeah. You haven't tripped on any rocks or anything?
Right, exactly. I'm able to look at my phone.
I haven't, fallen over the edge because I slipped on... This is great. Yeah. Pendrake, you might be right. They might be turning the engine around. Yeah. Very cool. Wow. There's a raven flying by. Wow. Oh, it's amazing. Amazing. There's our visitor center up there.
Oh, what time and oh, what fun playing tag with your iguanodon.
Is that a hype train incoming?
Oh, and Danny Blue Jeans, thank you. Thank you for that support. I think we've got a hype train going here, don't we? Something close to it?
No, I think they were joking.
Oh, about the actual train. Okay.
I think I could sit on this bench if we wanted to wrap up a little bit. Or we can explore more.
It says, congratulations, you have just walked the Trail of Time, a geology timeline covering 2 billion years of Grand Canyon history. Continue through the village to Maricopa Point, 1.5 miles, to the age of the Earth, to get to 4.54 billion years ago. I don't know. What do you think about laurdee? Do you want to wrap this up here? Or do you want to walk another mile and a half? We should probably wrap this up.
I think we should probably wrap this up.
Yeah. What a wonderful place. Did we now? Thank you, Father Time. Really appreciate that. Yeah. Awesome. Wow. Take a look down there. What? I'm not going to fall off the edge.
Okay. I'm not going to argue with you about it. I just would prefer.
There's other ledges down there, too. Even if I fell, I'd fall like 20 feet. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. And to think that there are 1,000 other vistas just like this all throughout the world.
Now.
This stretches
along with a horse and a cow.
100 miles? That direction? Something like that? Thank you, Danny Blue Jeans. Appreciate that support. Man, I don't know much about the Grand Canyon. This is only the second time I've ever been here. And, I don't know. I definitely need to come back. I want to come here with a troop of geologists and botanists, and ornithologists. Yeah. There's so much here. There's so many stories to be told. There's so many wonders to be experienced. I have no words. I think that's a common reaction. We're gonna go ahead and find somebody to raid, I think. Let's see. And Nana, was careful. No worries there. I mean, I wasn't gonna fall. Even if I had, I wouldn't have tumbled all the way to the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
Who have we got live right now? Why don't we say hello to... It's a tough one today.
We've got Kitchen Confidences on, doing a fishing stream.
A fishing stream?
The cooking. It's just someone that I follow. Let me see if chat has any suggestions.
Let's see, we've been doing marine mammal rescue a bit. I don't know if I want to do that again. Damon Machine is also
I know
on.
we're not used to streaming on Sundays, so we don't know
exactly.
the
Yeah,
streamers.
this is kind of a new thing. Let's go stand over here in the shade. In fact, let's go sit over here on this lovely bench. How did we miss this? Here we go. Let's see, Critter Vision is also on. Maybe we'll do Critter Vision, yeah. It's been a long time since I've rated Critter Vision. So we'll do that. Everybody, Critter Vision is like one of those kind of 24/7 Twitch channels. With all of these different critters that show up is it in North Carolina or North Virginia? I forget exactly where. We'll find out together. But there's raccoons and opossums and deer and squirrels and all kinds of cool critters who come through. So yeah.
So tomorrow, I think we will probably try to do a stream for you guys.
Yeah, we'll see if we can.
We'll see
no
if
promises.
we can. No promises, but we will be back on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll be in Los Angeles then, yeah.
Yeah, we'll be in LA.
Streaming from, we're going to see if we can do the La Brea Tar Pits, maybe the George C. Page Museum, the Los Angeles Museum of Natural History. It is going to be really great.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
And there might be some surprises along the way, so stay tuned for that. Yeah. Anyway, let me go ahead and get this raid started. Let's see.
Thank you, everybody, for the kind words. We really appreciate your support. We appreciate just everybody when you guys say nice things. We appreciate hearing them.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because we do this for you guys. We do this so that you guys can enjoy all these awesome places with us.
I hope that you learned something on this stream. I hope that you had a good time. I hope you'll join us again. And I hope, if you have a chance, you yourself will visit Grand Canyon National Park. And you'll support the National Park Service. And really, one of the greatest things that the United States has ever done is the creation of the National Park Service and the protection of these wonderful sacred lands.
Let's protect our fossils, because if they're removed,
let's walk over here and then we'll get this raid started.
Forever.
Will_Okla just
go.
subscribe.
No, I got it. Yeah. So we will bring everybody over to Critter Vision. So I hope you'll all enjoy that. Probably see some more animals than we saw today on this stream. But you could tell them about the lizard that we saw and the birds. Yeah. Anyway, it says tap to raid now. I think we'll go ahead and do that. Thank you, everybody, for such a wonderful stream. We hope to see you soon. All right, take care.
Let's go find your card.